Nestled in the unincorporated town of Weirwood on Virginia's eastern shore sits the historic Dewdrop Inn. The building's white wooden exterior is reminiscent of an old country store or schoolhouse, but once you pass through those 50-year-old doors, it's evident that this was no schoolhouse.
You were comfortable, you were safe, and you didn't have any worries. You knew you were going to have a good time.
The Dewdrop Inn was a place for good food, good music, and great fellowship, not to mention getting to hear live performances from talented artists like Delta blues singer Arthur Big Boy Crudup. Crudup would go on to write several songs that were later performed by the king himself, Elvis Presley.
Well, that's all right, Mama. That's all right for you.
This is just one in a series of pieces remembering the historic Dewdrop Inn. The history of the Dewdrop Inn was made possible by the Virginia Foundation for the Humanities. Built in 1967 by Lloyd Giddens, the Dewdrop Inn was a safe gathering place for African Americans on Virginia's eastern shore. Joan Wilson says it didn't matter if you were dancing to music flowing from the jukebox or listening to a live performer. You were made to feel welcomed and at home.
Places like this help the people to go on for the following week, because they were used to hard work, working in the fields, and didn't have a lot of places to go. So places like this gave them a place to come and a place to be, dressed up, and to enjoy themselves.
Music producer Billy Sturgis will tell you that even the musicians who came from far away had a special place in their hearts for the Dewdrop Inn.
We rehearsed here, wrote songs here, got to know each other here, because we were all coming from different parts, Nashville, St. Louis, different ones. And you don't find places like this anywhere.
The history of the Dewdrop Inn is made possible by the Virginia Foundation for the Humanities. Just off Route 13 on Virginia's eastern shore sits the historic Dewdrop Inn, a restaurant and dance hall known for making sure its guests felt welcomed. Owner Jane Cabarrus says her father, Lloyd Giddens, insisted on it.
My father always told us, no matter what color they were, what kind of work they did, you treat everybody the same way. So he wanted it to be so that everybody could come in and enjoy themselves.
Which might explain why, over the years, the Dewdrop has hosted musicians who played everything from blues to bluegrass, and remains one of the oldest African-American owned and operated businesses on Virginia's eastern shore.
It was during the period when the black community was excluded from many venues. So he wanted a safe place for recreation, music, dancing, and dining.
The history of the Dewdrop Inn is made possible by the Virginia Foundation for the Humanities. Robert Buckner is one of the numerous talented musicians who has performed at Giddens' Dewdrop Inn.
As a musician, this is one of our favorite places to play. The audience that comes here is always hyped about what they're going to hear. They dance all night. It's just a good feeling, good place. We have a network of musicians that stretch from the Bridge Tunnel up into Salisbury, Maryland, that we pull from, and we put different bands together and played here through the years. So we played here many different configurations, but every time it's been a great time.
Buckner, who's played the Dewdrop for at least 3 decades, describes the historic Eastern Shore restaurant and lounge this way.
I remember playing for an audience, and I don't know what this would do like with fire code things, but it would take 5 minutes to get from there to the front door. The place was so full, and never any kind of fighting. It's always just good feeling here, just a happy atmosphere.
The history of the Dewdrop Inn is made possible by the Virginia Foundation for the Humanities. Since its origin 50 years ago, the focus of the Dewdrop Inn has shifted a little. Once a popular restaurant and dance hall, today the Dewdrop serves as a place for civic meetings and community events. During spring break, owner Jane Cabarrus opens the venue's doors as a home away from home for college students who come to Virginia's Eastern Shore to do community service. Ann Trainer is a student from Boston College.
We went to the elementary school, and there was like one little boy who just clung to me, and I think I'll probably remember him the rest of my life. When I left, I was literally crying just because there's so much love, and also there's such a need for people to also give. I went in and gave them a lot of attention, and that's just something that I remember for the rest of my life, is spending time with those kids. And it's so nice that Mama Jane allows us to stay here and gives us opportunities like that.
The history of the Dewdrop Inn was made possible by the Virginia Foundation for the Humanities.